The assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh early on Wednesday is a major escalation that brings the region closer to an all-out war that Israel claims it does not want, but seems to be doing everything in its power to provoke. It did come just hours after Israel bombed Lebanon on Tuesday evening, killing 3 civilians. Israel claimed that it was targeting Fuad Shukr, Hizballah's most senior military official in that strike, but the Lebanese resistance movement has, as of yet, not issued any statement on it. In keeping with its standard practice, Israel has refused to make any official comment on the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, where he was attending the inauguration of Iran's newly elected president. But at least one Israeli official, Culture Minister 𝐓𝐴vichay Eliyahu, celebrated the killing, posting on X, formerly Twitter, that, quote, "This is the right way to clean the world from this filth. No more imaginary peace, surrender agreements, no more mercy for these sons of death," Eliyahu added. Despite Israel's official silence, few are in doubt about its responsibility, not least Iran, where the killing took place in what will be seen as a major breach in its sovereignty and security. The criminal terrorist Zionist regime martyred our dear guest in our territory and has caused our grief, but it has also prepared the ground for a severe punishment, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, said. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said that Haniyeh was killed along with his bodyguard in the residence where they were staying. It added that the attack is under investigation and that details will be released later. Among Haniyeh's last public words are those he made to Khamenei a day before his murder. Haniyeh spoke about how he had lost more than 60 members of his family in Gaza during Israel's genocide, including 3 sons, a sister, and many grandchildren. Following Israel's murder of his sons in April, Haniyeh said, quote, "The blood of my children and grandchildren is not more precious than the blood of the children of the Palestinian people. I thank God for this honor that he has bestowed upon me by the martyrdom of my 3 sons and some of my grandchildren," Haniyeh added. After the news of Ismail Haniyeh's murder, his eldest son Abdussalam said, "We have accustomed ourselves to receive the news of martyrdom like all the sons of our people. We have accustomed ourselves to victory or martyrdom." Abdussalam Haniyeh added that Israel was deluded if it thought murdering the leaders of the Palestinian resistance would halt the Palestinian struggle. Ismail Haniyeh was born in 1962 in Gaza's Shati refugee camp to a family of refugees from the Palestinian city of Majd al-Asqalan, renamed Ashkelon after the Zionist conquest of the city in 1948 during the Nakba. In the early 1980s, Haniyeh studied Arabic literature at the Islamic University of Gaza and joined the Islamic Student Bloc. He was active during the First Intifada, the mass uprising in the occupied Gaza Strip and the West Bank that began in Gaza in 1987, the same year Hamas was founded. Haniyeh was one of the group's early members, becoming a close confidant to its founder, Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, who was himself assassinated by Israel in 2004. As an activist against the occupation, Haniyeh was repeatedly jailed by Israel, his longest stint in its prisons lasting 3 years. After that, in 1992, he was among hundreds of Palestinian leaders and activists expelled by Israel to Lebanon. He returned to Gaza after the signing of the Oslo Accords between the Palestine Liberation Organization and Israel in 1993. And in 1997, he became the assistant to Hamas leader Sheikh Yassin. Yassin had just been released from prison by Israel following a failed Israeli assassination attempt on senior Hamas leader Khalid Mish'al in Amman, Jordan. Israeli agents had sprayed a toxin into Mish'al's ear. King Hussein of Jordan demanded that Israel provide the antidote, which it did, and that it also release Sheikh Yassin from prison. When he returned to Gaza, Haniyeh also returned to his modest family home in Shati refugee camp, the house he was born and raised in. Haniyeh became a well-known and popular leader across Gaza, in part by regularly giving sermons during Friday prayers in mosques across the territory. In 2006, following Hamas's victory in Palestinian Authority legislative elections in the occupied West Bank and Gaza Strip, Haniyeh became prime minister of a short-lived national unity government. That government was ended by a plot backed by the United States to overthrow Hamas using militias affiliated with its main rival Fatah, which had fully controlled the Palestinian Authority up to that point. The US-backed coup succeeded in the West Bank but failed in Gaza. Haniyeh remained as prime minister in Gaza as Israel imposed a devastating siege on the territory with the support and complicity of the United States, the European Union, some Arab states, and the Palestinian Authority run by Mahmoud Abbas in Ramallah. Haniyeh was known as a conciliator among Palestinian factions, and in 2014 he stepped down as prime minister in Gaza in a fresh attempt to achieve national unity. This followed the signing of an accord with the PLO delegation known as the Shati Agreement because it was signed in Haniyeh's own house in Shati refugee camp. But the obstacles in the way of unity, principally the Palestinian Authority's insistence on maintaining its collaboration with Israel and objections from the PA's foreign sponsors, torpedoed every attempt to overcome the divide. In May 2017, Haniyeh was elected head of the Politburo of Hamas, succeeding Khalid Mish'al. This coincided with Hamas's launch of a new political charter that affirmed the group's independence from the Muslim Brotherhood. The document indicated Hamas's readiness to accept a Palestinian state within the 1967 boundaries. The new charter stated that, quote, the conflict is with the Zionist project, not with the Jews because of their religion. Hamas does not wage a struggle against the Jews because they are Jewish, but wages a struggle against the Zionists who occupy Palestine. Yet it is the Zionists who constantly identify Judaism and the Jews with their own colonial project and illegal entity, end quote. The document also stated that resistance, including armed resistance, is a legitimate right guaranteed by international law. But it also signaled that armed resistance was a means to an end, and that if those ends, Palestinian liberation and self-determination, could be achieved by politics, Hamas was ready for that. Hamas had hoped that these far-reaching concessions and political overtures would gain it admission to the international political arena in a manner similar to the Irish Republican movement Sinn Féin and its associated armed wing, the IRA. Hamas also supported the mass civilian protests in Gaza in 2018, known as the Great March of Return, an effort to win international support and pressure on Israel to end the siege of Gaza. Israel responded by sending military snipers to murder and maim thousands of unarmed civilians. Met with adamant rejectionism from Israel and the United States to all its political overtures, Hamas was given no option but continued an escalating armed resistance, culminating in the Al-Aqsa flood operation of October 7th, 2023. With his assumption of the role as Hamas's top leader, Haniyeh relocated from Gaza to Doha. From the Qatari capital, he could conduct international diplomacy and negotiations, including a central role in the so far unsuccessful efforts to achieve an end to Israel's genocidal war in Gaza and a mutual exchange of detainees. Following the murder of Haniyeh, Israel reaffirmed that it still seeks a deal to free its captives in Gaza, a perverse and cynical statement after it almost certainly murdered its chief Palestinian interlocutor. Haniyeh was seen by Palestinians as a major and popular national leader and had gained widespread international recognition. He was an interlocutor with major world capitals, including Moscow, Beijing, and Ankara, and had visited some of them. An opinion poll in the West Bank and Gaza Strip in March, 6 months into Israel's genocide, showed him winning 70% of the vote in a potential matchup against Palestinian Authority leader Mahmoud Abbas. After the January assassination of Saleh al-Aruri, a senior Hamas leader in Beirut and also a key negotiator in ceasefire talks, an act also widely attributed to Israel, Haniyeh stated, quote, a movement that offers its leaders and founders as martyrs for the dignity of our people and our nation will never be defeated. and such assassinations only make it stronger, more resilient, and more determined.
Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit like, leave a comment. These engagements help us with the YouTube algorithm, and it helps us to get around Silicon Valley censorship as much as possible. It does make a difference. You can also support our journalism by going to electronicintifada.net and clicking on donate now. Thank you.